came to realize it's because they hide their pain that we don't even know they need to go. So working with pharma products, I was actually working with pain management products for cats, and I came across a scoring tool. And there's multiple versions of a grimace scale where cats hold their pain in their face like humans. They grimace, and it's highly accurate to pain. So we took those scoring, my friends and I at Cat Healthy took those grimace scales and then applied AI to them. So in our AI, we're matching veterinary data sets. And we found out we were 96% accurate to what the cat was feeling on its face with computer vision.
Welcome to the Pet Care Report podcast by Pet Summits. Here's your natural cat healthcare host, Dr. Megan Barrett.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us once again on the Pet Care Report. Please join us in welcoming our special guest today, Susan Groeneveld. She is a serial entrepreneur with a 25-year track record in the animal care and technology sectors. Susan has spearheaded commercialization initiatives for major global companies in animal health and agriculture, co-founded the award-winning North American marketing agency WS, and launched Sylvester.ai, a not-for-profit globally recognized in animal health. In 2023, she was honored as a top 5 finalist for Entrepreneur of the Year for Women in AI across North America, underscoring her impact and dedication to innovative solutions in animal care. Thank you so much for joining us today, Susan.
My pleasure. That was a mouthful.
That's okay. You're incredible, and I'm so excited to highlight a few of your items from your background. So today we're going to be talking about some very cool topics that we don't normally get to talk about on this show. So it's going to be fantastic to have Susan explaining some of these things about AI and pet care to us. So Susan, you've had a fascinating journey merging technology with animal care. Can you share with us what initially drew you to focus on pets and what inspired you to integrate artificial intelligence into this field?
You bet. And thank you, Megan, for this opportunity. My journey started actually, I grew up in a ranch in Canada, in Alberta, and I have an animal science degree. And then I did some genetic evaluation work actually in livestock. And along the way, I found that there was marketing, in terms of communication and talking about scientific things with lay people, and started my own marketing agency working with multinationals in pet food and pharma, and then spent 20 years helping bring products to market through pharmaceutical companies. And along the way, I could see that cats really were getting kind of short shifted in that we didn't see as many cats going to the veterinarian. There weren't as many products available for cats. And then, as a marketing group, our budgets weren't that robust to actually even move the dial for cats. And so there was a real hole, a real disconnect, because we could see that people love their cats. There's no question. But we just, we weren't really doing what we could be, and there was a lot of cats suffering. So actually about 10 years ago, I created a not-for-profit with feline specialists here in Canada called Cat Healthy. And we created the first of their kind preventive care protocols for cats to try and help people understand the needs of cats, and not just cat owners or cat caregivers, but even veterinarians, because veterinarians, as you know, going to school, how much time is spent in feline care is minimal. And recent studies actually have also shown us that veterinarians actually don't always enjoy seeing a cat versus a dog, because cats don't believe that they like the experience. So a recent survey I just heard last week was only 5% of veterinarians really believe that cats are having a good time at the clinic, versus some dogs actually really enjoy it, and you're getting that validation as a veterinarian. So there's a real disconnect for cats. Less than half of them actually see a veterinarian on a regular basis compared to over 80% of dogs. And so when we were doing the protocols, I thought, okay, now we've got tools and we can educate people about getting them in a cat carrier. And then I realized it's because they hide their pain that we don't even know they need to go. So working with pharma products, I was actually working with pain management products for cats, and I came across a scoring tool. And there's multiple versions of a grimace scale where cats hold their pain in their face like humans. They grimace, and it's highly accurate to pain. So we took those scoring. My friends and I at Cat Healthy took those grimace scales and then applied AI to them. So in our AI, we're matching veterinary data sets. And we found out we were 96% accurate to what the cat was feeling on its face with computer vision. And so we went ahead and incorporated Sylvester, and then created actually a tool that people could download and take a picture of their cat's face on the phone and give them an immediate assessment. And so that's actually what we're commercializing today is a technology on the phone. And in early days, we had 54,000 downloads in a week of this technology, and we're scaling now globally with it. Yeah, we really are invested in wanting to do what's right, collectively for the species, but we just don't have the tools. So we thought, well, let's see if the cat can help us help them.
Yeah, it's just so amazing. Like, they have all this new technology nowadays for human facial recognition, and, they're using it for marketing and stuff like that. But to have it be used for a cat and to help recognize pain, it just, like, to me, is one of the most amazing applications of technology that I've heard of. So I applaud you.
Oh, thank you. It gives me goosebumps because there's so many people that see it the same way. Like, we all want to do what's right. And what we're actually doing in the company is quite challenging in that we are pioneering something that's never been done before at the same time as we're scaling it. So we're seeing now, like in the veterinary community, more validation about AI and pain recognition on a cat's face. And then we're also selling it through clinics to pet owners. And the people that are using it, the feedback's been incredible in terms of helping these cats in their quality of life. So it's really a rewarding journey, and there's so many people that want this to be successful that it's really fueling us forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a window into the cat's soul, if you will. And I think we all want to understand our cats more, but they're so mysterious, and it can be hard to interpret their emotions sometimes. So having a more objective way to measure that, and a tool that has the data and the science behind it so we can trust those results, I think it would, also just open a whole world of awareness so that people are realizing, there's so much more to cat health than just taking them to the vet for their shots once a year.
We work with a lot of pain experts and pain specialists, and what they're excited about with the technology is, a lot of what's been done to date in medication for cats has been molecule based, right? Like, we know that a product is effective, or a parasiticide, it's effective on, killing a type of bug. But we don't really see a lot of outcome based products like that. We don't know they're outcome based because the cat goes home, and the problem is a lot of those cats don't come back. So we don't really know. We're assuming that they're effective, but we're not really seeing the full outcome of really good medicine for cats. And so that's the other thing that we're really bringing with this tech. And so when we talk about AI and the opportunities in AI, we're seeing incremental things that are better with AI. But I think what we're doing is fundamentally changing how we think about care, in that it's a circle. It's not linear. It's not problem solution. It's the lifetime of the cat, because we're following the cat at home. So our technology is also an API, meaning that it embeds in other people's platforms. So whether it's a wearable collar, or let's say you have a smart litter box or a smart feeder, anything that has the ability to have a camera has the ability to use our technology. And then we're really one of the sources of truth of that animal beyond just the medical record that we see in a clinic, or anecdotally what a pet owner is doing at home.
Wow. Yeah. All that is so cool and so inspiring, just to think of all the new ways that we could be using the technology to help our animals and, get that window into what they're feeling instead of just our subjective human observations.
Yeah. And we're starting with pain. And today we're couching our technology in happy, unhappy. And we're doing that on purpose because we don't want to alarm people. And, like one picture is an acute moment in time. And I mean, as I talk to a doctor here as a DVM, you understand this like, intrinsically, but it's a moment in time. So what we say is, one unhappy picture doesn't mean the cat's in pain. But it's that peace of mind that, let's say you're in a clinic, dental procedure, right? And you're wondering, right? And you think it's likely painful. This is like a validation point. The same thing that we're seeing with cat owners. If the cat is urinating outside of the litter box, this is another, just another touch point. And we'll say, if you see a multiple days of a bad day for a cat, it's likely there could be something going on. So it's probably wise to involve your veterinarian, or in some cases, veterinarians are recommending it after procedure, and people can take pictures, and the clinic can actually see the assessment at the same time as the pet owner. So it's really facilitating that collaborative care approach as well. So it's just really profoundly exciting, but it's not without challenge. That's for sure.
So do you think that your focus will remain on cats more than dogs?
Yeah, I get this question like everywhere. And the thing with cats is they're 10,000 years less domesticated than dogs, as you know. And so they're not reading us. They're not as intuitive as a dog is to how the human is feeling. So generally speaking, this is why we believe that the grimace scale is so accurate, is they're not changing how they feel based on a camera in front of them, generally. And also they're mostly looking the same, right? In terms of they're mostly, short-haired domestic tabby. And we know we've got fringe breeds, but they're generally looking similar. Dogs, as you know, there's every combination of every kind of facial feature under the sun. But also, actually, a veterinarian was telling me there's a thing called a placebo effect in dogs, where if you smile at a dog, they'll try to smile back. Or even if you have a senior dog that's highly athletic, if you say, hey, it's time to go for a walk, they're going to give it their all to try and match what the human wants to do. And so getting a good reading on pain is going to take a lot more data points than just the face. And so full body makes sense in terms of assessing dog. But it's a lot.
Yeah, their posture and all that.
Yeah, it's a lot more complicated with dog. Now, there are other species, though, where the grimace is highly accurate, and those are rabbits, ferrets, mice, even equine, actually. And again, these animals are less domesticated as a dog, versus dog. So if it was truly just grimace, we'd probably go to those species first. That being said, there's all these data sets that are available and becoming more available, and people are really working actively in this space, not just us, to try and get these signs, taking a subjective validation like visual, and really, to your point you'd mentioned earlier, making it more accurate. The machine is going to be more accurate because it's flattening everybody's bias, where right now, even between veterinarians, your assessment of pain versus another person's assessment, or my assessment, would be different. So it's a perfect use case for machine learning.
I agree.
Yeah,
just fantastic. So what are some of the challenges that you've faced using AI in pet care?
Oh boy. Probably the biggest challenge is what everyone would say in AI is data sets, labeled data sets. We're working with veterinarians and with pet caregivers for labeled data sets. So cats with diagnosed conditions and the proper data coming in, because we're only as good as the data being fed to the machine. So that's one of the challenges. I think that's probably the biggest challenge of all AI, quite frankly. Even if you think OpenAI or the generative, that ChatGPT, the thing that with AI is it will get more accurate with the more data it gets, which is the opposite of what we do in medicine from a science molecule-based point of view. where we expect it to be perfect and then we put it into the wild. And what we're doing is we're putting something into the wild and knowing it will only get better with more data coming in. So it's very, challenging, right, for people to get their head around, like the difference in approach, which then leads me to, AI. To be honest, we're not getting a lot of pushback from veterinarians. If anything, actually, we were seeing a really high level of curiosity. And I think COVID really helped, us all kind of just go, what could be possibly happening in the world? Like anything's possible now. So that's not the challenge, but incorporating into standard of care or really thinking past like current protocols, I think is always going to be a challenge, right? Because we're doing something new.
Yeah, I think we're all trying to figure out where AI and these language-based models will fit into the veterinary field in particular. And, it's interesting because the one thing I think it can't replace is the hands-on piece of what veterinarians and veterinary staff is like. Animals in particular, they can't type in their symptoms like a human could if they went up to a little doctor robot kiosk in the future and got a robot to diagnose them. But it is interesting. And yeah, I think as veterinarians, we're open to all the help we can get with understanding these animals and what's going on in their brains and their bodies, because we just want to help them so much. And it's such a mystery and detective work sometimes to figure out why they're sick. And so it's nice to have new tools that are being created.
Yeah, it's true. The large language. So we're not a large language model, right? Like we're truly machine learning. And that is because we're not throwing data in that's not already validated by veterinarians. So it's like we're very much a curated approach to what we're doing, because we want to control the variables to be as accurate as possible. That being said, the large language models, I think, are going to be hugely helpful for veterinarians, and we're always going to need expert human. And sadly, we're not going to have enough veterinarians for the demand for pets, especially. We're going to run out of people to do the work that's needed. If you think that less than half of cats today see a veterinarian on a regular basis for preventive care, I just heard stats again this past week where I think by 2050, we're going to be so overwhelmed with pet care and lack of veterinarians that I know that many groups are trying to figure out different ways to increase the level of care without either without a veterinarian status or like a higher lift in technician education or something. So we're going to need all the tools we can get, quite frankly.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. There's a huge shortage, in the veterinary staff, but then also just, the availability of credible information because there's so much on the internet nowadays. And I think that it's great. Pet owners really need to be educating themselves, and in that holistic realm too, it's even more so. So recognizing pain is a big factor in understanding, how your pets are doing.
Mm-hmm. And I think pain is, the way we look at it is pain is the top of the decision tree. So that is the motivation, right? Like, I mean, you might see like an animal that's not eating, or like as a caregiver at home, I may see my animal's not eating, but I'm going to kind of ride it out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be sure when is the right time, or does that animal need human help? But when we see pain and we recognize what pain looks like, then that is a tipping point. As a human, we go and get an Aleve or a Tylenol. What is the pet going to be doing at this juncture, or like even in equine, right? So that's also what's so exciting about what we're doing. And pain is an emotion, right? So what else? We've had cats on our tech that they take the user will take a picture before the animal's fed, and they will show up as unhappy. And so now it's like, oh, these are sentient creatures. We all kind of know this, but we're just getting started in terms of what are we really uncovering about.
Yeah, their life experience is so complex, and it's not just pain or lack of pain. There's also other sensations in the body like nausea and excitement and, all fear and all the different spectrum of emotions that animals feel too. So it's pretty much the sky's the limit with how far we can take this. So it's so incredible that you're breaking into this, and I'm sure everyone's as excited as I am to learn about it.
Yeah, it's good, right? But we also need to make sure that people are comfortable, that it's validated as much as we can validate at this juncture, right? Obviously, the technology needs to be right. And there are groups that are doing research in this area. And we see that as a good thing, right? In terms of if we were the only group thinking about this, then, you're kind of the crazy one. But when we see others that are also kind of doubling down in computer vision, then we know that this is going to be something really valuable. In our early days, from a commercial point of view, we actually applied for early patent protection, because once we saw how accurate it was in our data sets, we went and ran it out to IP protection. So we've applied for full patent for feline classification for pain visually in North America and Europe, and actually in Singapore, because we're selling it there. So we're like, the more people into it now, the better. We just spoke at Cornell. And they had an AI and veterinary tech conference a couple of weeks ago, and we were lucky enough to speak there as well. The team, my CTO actually spoke at that. So, yeah, I mean, next year this time, I think we might understand a little bit about cats in chronic pain and what that might look like. I think we might know a little bit more about specific disease state and pain, and what that might look like. Does it look different types of pain? So there's just so many. It's actually one of our biggest challenges is narrowing focus, because there's
I bet
so many ways to think about it.
to investigate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have when it comes to research, I think.
Yeah. And we are to that, actually, we are looking for veterinarians or veterinary groups that would be interested in participating with us. We do have people that are already involved in some of our label data engagement. And then we're also talking with institutional partners from universities that are interested in AI and veterinary care together. So if there's people interested in coming on the journey or learning more, my email's in my name, and we'd really, really love to hear from you.
Yeah, that's a very amazing opportunity. So hopefully, if there are any vets listening and you want to get involved, we'll give you all the info for contacting Susan so that we can all work on this together.
Yeah.
Do you have any other info? Like, sounds like you're on the inside of this industry, and you guys were just at this big conference. Are there any other notable applications of AI that people may not know about that are going to be coming out soon for the veterinary?
And you're probably finding this too. Everybody's talking about AI, and everyone's saying, "What about AI?" And I think it's kind of become a bit of a buzz word. So I'm looking at it from a different point of view. I'm not looking at it from an AI point of view. I'm looking at it from the problem it solves. And so what excites me about problems that are being solved, and of course, there's a bunch of work that's being done, like in clinics for efficiency, digitization of records and whatnot. There's a ton in food animal on the large animal side. Like there's boluses now that they're testing that an animal will ingest, and it's actually tracking like temperature and heart rate, and super cool, right? Yeah, super cool in terms of managing the animal in a different way. So I look at it more like, how big is the problem, and does this solve the problem, versus AI for the sake of AI? Because we know on the face of it, AI is supposed to make things more efficient, but it's actually not just plug and play with AI. It's just so new. And so when people lead with AI, you need to really get under the hood and kind of go, okay, is this a problem that really is well solved by AI? Where ours, obviously, it's the AI that's making this possible. So I think that on the large animal, I'm seeing a lot of that. On the companion side, I'm seeing a lot of like smart feeder technology. There's some really cool epigenetics that's coming. So, environment and genetics and how that plays, which is fascinating, I think. Oncology, like cancer detection, like early preventive detection. I think there's some really fascinating work that's being done in the genetics that I think is pretty.
Yeah, hopefully there will be lots of ways that we can leverage all the new technology to help our pets live longer lives and healthier, more comfortable lives so that we can enjoy them for longer. It's always too short when it comes to our pets.
I know, right? And I mean, there's all these rabbit holes. Like, it's like most things in life, right? Until there's a problem, you don't really choose to learn about it. Like, on the face of everything, it seems great. And then, when you get a pet, invariably you will be dealing with at some point disease or a problem or end of life. Like that just comes with the territory. And so I think the more information that's available, the better for people. Most pet owners, right, are millennial or Gen Z now. And what we're seeing, right, is it has to be immediate and people really want to know now. And they want to be part of the collaborative nature. So I think there's just a really huge acceleration in terms of knowledge that people are bringing, and to your point, like holistic care and all the different things to bear. It's really a team approach around these animals. So how can they not be having a better life? When there's so many people that are kind of on it versus before it was really, I don't want to say top down, but it was just so siloed, right? I mean, how can it not be better?
So I'm sure some of our listeners are wondering what actions they can take to get involved and take advantage of some of the work that you've done. So can you share with us where they should go and find you and the work that you've done on the internet?
Yeah, very good. So, our website is a good first place, sylvester.ai. And then they can reach out to myself or hello@sylvester.ai. We are not offering the technology direct to pet owners right now, so they need to go through clinic. So if you're a veterinary clinic, we'd love to talk to you about how we set that up. And if you are interested, talk to your veterinarian and have them reach out, and then we can start that process. The reason we're not going direct to the consumer or the cat owner is we really want a veterinarian involved because we're actually solving a really big challenge for cats. And so if you have a cat that you think may be in pain, the first stop should always be a veterinarian, not our tech. And then, we're in a co-pilot situation with veterinarians right now. So we really want to have that source and that expert with us to help your cat on its journey. And I might add, if you have an older cat, they're going to be showing signs of aging. And we know that I was speaking with Lap of Love, which is a group I'm sure you're familiar with that do euthanasia for cats. And they were saying
Hospice.
Yeah, and hospice, that's right. And they were saying that almost all of the cats that are euthanized that they see have not been to a veterinarian in the year previous, which means they're not getting any kind of intervention. There is going to be pain near end of life. We know, unless there's an accident or a horrific incident. And there might be things to extend the longevity of that animal if we can get them into proper care. So I'm a huge fan of the veterinary community and what can be done to help these cats if we know better.
Yeah, I love their collaborative approach. I think it will lead to a lot of success with getting the veterinarians on board too.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have one last tip for pet owners to go away with today?
Oh, well, congratulations and kudos. And the fact that you've chosen to have an animal in your life means that animal's already having a higher gain life than they did previous to you. And I think that's fantastic. I would really, really recommend people be proactive in their care. And I know we try to do that in many ways, but Think about the care and what you're getting from veterinarians or healthcare professionals and really make that a top priority versus maybe that preemptive thing in the middle, like through the pet store. If you have to pick between more bow ties on the scratching post and going to a veterinarian and you haven't seen one in a few years, go to the vet because that's extending the life much faster than, the fun tchotchke thing, which I know it sounds like common sense, but sometimes we just don't want to deal with the things that maybe really can be easily treated.
Yeah, that's a absolutely amazing tip. And I would agree too, if you're worried about taking your cat to the vet, maybe try to find a vet that does house calls. I do those for my clients because cats sometimes do a lot better at home. And also look for fear-free practices that have things in place so that it's a less stressful visit for the cat. And they have protocols and ways set up so that it's not going to be as scary to come in. So just a tip for myself as well.
Yeah, Dr. Barrett, what a great, that's a really great point, right? There's cat-friendly clinics, there's fear-free clinics, there's feline specialist cat-only clinics, and I think we're going to see more of them. And if you have a cat, I would highly recommend really sussing out the clinics that really are friendly towards cats. It'll really make it. It'll make your experience really, really profound.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Susan, so much for your time. I've learned so much and just had such a positive experience chatting with you. This is so inspiring. And I know that we're all excited for the things that are to come. And I'll definitely be reaching out to you about getting this integration for my patients as well.
Excellent. Excellent. My pleasure. And thank you. I know you're busy. You're busy too. So thanks so much.
Yes. You're welcome. We'll talk to you next time.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you.